In Chapter 5, Section 4, we are going to learn how to divide polynomials.
So we all know how to do long division, right? We see how many times 21 goes into 67. How many times? 3. And then we multiply the 3 times the 21, so we get 63. And then we subtract it, so we have 42. And then we need to see how many times 21 goes into 42. Twice. So then our answer is 32. So now we're just doing the same thing, but with polynomials. So we're going to involve x squared and x's. So this is just a little example of long division. So it shows the step-by-step, but we're going to be doing on our own. So the first one, we need to see how many times x goes into 4x squared. So what number times 4x squared? What number times x gives us 4x squared? 4x. So we're going to keep the x's on top of each other. So see how this has one x and this has one x, so we keep them on top there. So now we multiply 4x times x plus 5. So 4x times x is 4x squared, and then 4x times 5 is 20x. So now we just change the sign of both of these to minus and minus. So these cancel out here. The 4x squareds cancel out. And then we combine the second two, and we get 3x. So we're just subtracting 23x minus 20. So now we need to do the same thing to see what times x gives us this 3x. 3. So now we're going to say plus 3 on top. So we keep the number, the constant, on top of the constant. And now we multiply again. So we multiply 3 times this x plus 5. So 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times 5, 15. But now we need to change the signs here. So we get these to cancel out, and then we combine these two. So what is negative 16 minus 15? Negative 31. So we need to see what times x gives us negative 31. We can't divide this 31 by x plus 5 because nothing times x will give us 31. So our remainder is negative 31. So this is as far as we can divide. And there's two ways we can write the remainder. We can say remainder negative 31. Or we could write the answer as 4x plus 3 minus 31 over x plus 5. And I get that x plus 5 from right here, from the beginning. So two ways we can write it, like this one or this one. What do you guys like better? The top one, yeah. So you guys can just leave it. Yeah, we have to change these to minus signs to get them to cancel out here and to get them to cancel out here.
Oh, okay.
We multiplied the 4x times this. So the 20 came from 4x times the plus 5.
4x came from the x going into the
Uh-huh. Okay, let's do another example. Some examples. So again, we're going to divide. We need to write it how it was in the last one. So we're just going to rewrite it as x plus 2 goes into 2x squared plus 7x plus 11. So we're just rewriting it. So now we need to see what times x gives us this 2x squared. 2x. So we're going to write the 2x on top of the 7x. Because if it just has one x, we just need to keep it in line. And now we multiply this 2x by what we're dividing. So 2x times x gives us 2x squared, and then 2x times 2 gives us 4x. And now we change the signs here, so these will cancel out. And then we combine the 7x and the negative 4. So it's 7x minus 4. 3x. So now we need to see what times x gives us 3x. 3. So we're going to have plus 3 on the top. Now we take this 3 and multiply it by x plus 2. And what do we get when we multiply it? (3x plus 6). We need to change the signs here so the 3x's will cancel out. And now we just combine the 11 and the negative 6. So what's 11 minus 6? 5. Now nothing times x will give us 5, so our remainder is 5. And this is our final answer. Okay, what do we need to do first here? We rewrite it. So we have x minus 4 on the outside and x cubed minus 3x minus 12. So now we have an x cubed. 13. Now we have an x cubed, and our next term is 13x. It's important that what's on the inside here is in standard form and that it has every single exponent. So if we start with x cubed, we need to have an x squared and an x and a constant. If we start with x4, we need x4, x3, x2, and x to the 1. So what are we missing from the inside here? X squared. So we need to make an x squared. Now this equation doesn't have an x squared, so what we're going to do is just squeeze in there a 0 x squared. And now we do the same thing as before. We divide. So what times x gives us x cubed? X squared. So we write the x squared on top of the other x squared. So now we multiply x squared times x minus 4. So we get x cubed minus 4x squared. Now we need to change the signs so these will cancel out. How do we change the sign of negative 4x? What does it become? A positive. So our x cubes cancel out, and now we're left with 0x squared plus 4x squared, which is how do we add 0x squared plus 4x squared? 4x squared. We're just adding the numbers in front and keeping the exponent the same.
times positive because you're multiplying two negatives, right?
Right. So we just changed the signs of this so the x cubes will cancel out. So now what times x gives us 4x squared? 4x. So we're going to say plus 4x on top of the 13x. And now we go backwards and we need to multiply 4x times x minus 4. So what do we get when we times 4x times x? 4x squared minus negative 4 times 4x, which is negative 16 x.
Did you get the 4 again?
We needed to see what times x gives us 4x squared. So that's how we got the 4x. So now we change the signs here. So this becomes a negative, this becomes a positive. So these will cancel out. And now we drop the negative 13x and combine it with the positive 16x. So what do we get there? $3x. We just add the numbers in front and keep the x's the same. So now what times x gives us 3x? 3. So we're going to put a plus 3 on the top. What do we do next? Multiply 3 by what's out front. So what's 3 times x?
3x.
And 3 times negative 4?
Negative 12.
Now we need to change the sign so our 3x's will cancel out. And this becomes a 12x. And we combine the negative 12 and positive 12. And what do we get there? 0. So this one, our answer is just x squared plus 4x plus 3. Since these two cancel out and just become 0, we have no remainder. So this one goes in evenly.
Did you put the 13?
We combined the 13 and the 16, and it became the 3x here. Ready for the next one? Okay, what do we need to do first? Rewrite it. So we have x plus 3 divides x cubed plus 5x squared plus 11x plus 15. Are there any terms we need to add in here?
Yeah.
What?
There's 0x squared.
But we have an x squared.
Oh, no, you're good now.
So we're good. We don't need to add anything. So what times x gives us x cubed? X squared. So we have x squared on top of the 5x squared. And now we multiply this times the start. So we have x squared times x, which is x cubed, and x squared times 3, which is plus 3x squared. What do we need to do now? Change the signs. So we make this a negative and a negative. So the first ones are going to cancel out. And now we combine the 5x squared and the negative 3x squared. And what do we get? 2x squared. Now what times x gives us 2x squared? 2x. And now we take this 2x and multiply it by the start. So what do we get when we multiply it by x plus 3? 2x squared plus 6x. Now we need to change the signs. So these two will cancel out. What do we do now? We need to drop down the 11 and combine those two. So what's 11x minus 6x? 5x. And now we need to see what times x gives us 5x. 5. So we're going to add 5 on top. And now we multiply 5 times x plus 3. So it's 5 times x. And 5 times 3, 15. And now we do what? Change the signs. So it becomes a negative and a negative. These cancel out. And now we do what? We combine the 15 and the minus 15, and what do we get? 0. Are we done? Yep. This is our answer, and it goes in evenly because we ended up with a 0, so we have no remainder. So you're always going to get these to cancel out. So if you don't get them to cancel out, then you must have had something wrong up at the top. Then something, either your multiplication was wrong or your number that you picked was wrong. So these always need to cancel out. Okay, one last example. What do we do first? X minus 2 divides x cubed minus x squared minus 4x plus 4. Do we have anything we need to add in here? No, we have all the terms we need. So where do we start? We start with an x squared. X squared times x gives us x cubed. So we multiply the top with x minus 2, and we get x cubed minus what? 2x squared. And now we do what? Change the signs. So these will cancel out. And now we add the x squareds. So we have negative x squared plus 2x squared. And what do we get? X squared. So now we need to see what times x gives us x squared. Just x. And now what do we do? We multiply it, so we get x squared minus 2x. What do we do next? Change the signs. So these will cancel out. We need to combine the negative 4x and the plus 2x. And we get negative 2x. So now I need to see what times x gives us negative 2x. Negative 2. And now we multiply the negative 2 by x minus 2. And what do we get? Perfect. And now we need to do what? Change the signs. So that becomes a plus, this becomes a minus. These cancel out. We combine these two, which gives us 0. So this here is our answer.